I'm taking a childhood classic side dish. I mean, really, for me, it was a regular thing I ate just as a meal, but mac and cheese, you know, the powdered cheese packet mac and cheese. You can actually just find powdered cheese. Online is the best resource to find it. Some specialty stores do carry it, and I have seen it out in the wild. The cool thing about powdered cheese is it's not just a bunch of chemicals. A lot of brands, it's just cheese. It's just milk, dairy products. It's actual cheese just dehydrated, turned into a powder. So I'm gonna do a little mac and cheese with this. So I have some water coming up to a boil. We're gonna take our normal elbow macaronis. I like the small ones. I'm just gonna do a full pound. Now I have about 4 cups of water in here. The trick we're working on today is a no drain pasta. So you just barely cover about 1 pound of pasta in water. It's kind of like making rice where you want it to absorb the liquid that you're cooking it in. A little bit of that residual starch is actually good. It's gonna help you pull this sauce together. Of course you can get the boxed mac and cheese, but making your own variation with powdered cheese is just the same, and you can adjust and control the portions. So that box is only so many servings. If you wanna make more, have a cheese powder, or if you want to make a little less, cheese powder. It's a good way to control the portion. We're gonna let this go. It'll come up to a boil, and then when it comes up to a boil, that's when we're gonna set the timer for whatever the package instructions recommend. This says 5 minutes, so that's about how long we're gonna let it go. I like the small macaroni. Of course, this is gonna take less time to cook. Thicker, bigger shapes of pasta usually take a little bit more time to cook, somewhere between 9 and 11 minutes. And of course, you can mix up the type of pasta you're using. I got a package of ornichetti. I'm gonna do this a little later. I'm gonna make another batch with this, but we're keeping things classic with little elbows here. So cheese powder is not just a one-trick pony. This stuff, I'm just gonna read the back of it, but look, it's good for so many things. You can sprinkle it on popcorn, use it on your baked potatoes. That sounds delicious. It's good for cheese sauces, clearly. Soups, ooh, a cheddar broccoli soup with a little cheese powder in there. I love me some cheese-flavored soups. So not just for macaroni and cheese, you can mix up, use this in a variety of recipes. I've actually seen some recipes that use this for like homemade Doritos. You make your traditional like tortilla chips out of corn tortillas, but then you make a dust out of like some chili powder, cumin, some cheese powder, and you sprinkle that on there. So I might have to try the at-home Doritos. Anyways, we're off the rails. So your cheese powder can be used in a bunch of fun recipes, and it's shelf stable. So unlike cheese in the refrigerator, which I keep a ton of cheese in my refrigerator, this stuff won't go bad for a long time. And it's really not that expensive, powdered cheese. So it's already doing it. The macaroni is soaking up a bunch of this liquid. I like to use a wider pot. So for this process where we're not necessarily draining the liquid, you want a lot of evaporation. So I tend to use a wider pot. Working, it's working. You do want to keep stirring this because any pasta that's floated to the top, you want it back in the bottom to keep hydrating and keep soaking up the liquid. This will have plenty of time to cook. Now you notice I didn't salt the water. That's because a lot of salty ingredients are gonna go in here, and I'm gonna taste some salt at the end. So you can always salt the water a little bit, but I like a little bit more control over how salty things are. So I'm gonna use the cheese sauce, add a little bit of my own salt, and then taste it from there. Now when that timer's done, you'll be left with a little liquid, but we need a little bit of that water, a little bit of that starchy water to bring together our sauce. I think if I had a superpower, that would be it. I'm oddly aware of how long time intervals are. It's like, oh, has it been 10 minutes? And I'm like, it's been like 9 minutes. I don't know, does everybody have that ability? So they're still a little bit chewy. It's almost the full time from the box. So what I'm gonna do is continue on with the rest of my ingredients. I'm gonna add some milk, some butter, get that melted. This is a full pot. We got a lot going on here. Different cheese powders may be a little different, so I just check the instructions, read the label. Sometimes they'll have a conversion. So to make a cheese sauce, you basically just add some kind of milk or liquid. To rehydrate it, it'll turn itself into a sauce right away. So you can always check the package. So while this comes back up to temperature, we're gonna add all of our ingredients, let the sauce combine, and we're having mac and cheese, and it's been like less than 10 minutes. So I'm gonna add some garlic powder, a little paprika for color and flavor. You could add some hot sauce or cayenne for heat, a little salt. We're gonna adjust at the end. I love a ton of pepper in my mac and cheese. You know, at restaurants where they do the Parmesan or the pepper, I am no joke that person who's, oh no, keep going. I'm checking my phone, I'm booking flights. They're still grinding pepper and I'm like, okay, good, thanks. That mixed in. Now you can do this with boxed mac and cheese to, you know, make it a little bit more flavorful, add some seasonings. Growing up, we did all sorts of wild stuff with our mac and cheese. I had a friend who put ketchup in mac and cheese. I love green onion, so I always put green onion in my mac and cheese. We're gonna add that cheese powder in. You can smell it. It smells like a Cheeto. It smells like the regular Kraft mac and cheese box. The cheese powders you can find in white cheddar cheese. They make different types of cheese powders, so you can really mix it up. Speaking of mixing it up, we're getting saucy. Choose the small skillet, they said. You'll have enough room, they said. But you all know that I'm naturally a messy chef. On the Bear, they're like, yes, chef. I'm like, mess, chef. Okay, I'm gonna turn this down just so more of the liquid doesn't evaporate, and all we need to do is combine and enjoy. Look how creamy that's getting. This couldn't be easier. I didn't have to get out a colander. It only took 1 pot. I did see a step that it does say it sometimes helps to whisk in the milk and the cheese powder before, so you can try that. I like just throwing everything in the pot, getting it all mixed together. Look how perfect this looks though. Creamy, the perfect consistency. If you need a little bit more liquid, just do another dash of milk. But I like mine kind of creamy, not too saucy. Also growing up, we would turn mac and cheese, boxed mac and cheese or a recipe like this, into a complete meal. We would add rotisserie chicken, broccoli, peas, any kind of vegetable you want in here. I've done it before. I just throw a handful of spinach in there if I have some spinach left over. So it becomes less mac and cheese and more of like a cheesy pasta dish. But there are no rules when it comes to having fun with mac and cheese. Throw in all your ingredients, add some protein, add some sausage. I don't know, go crazy. But there we go. Fully mixed in, the perfect color, the perfect consistency. You get to choose your own pasta. You get to add any additional flavors you want. And I have a ton of cheese powder, so I'm gonna make that other batch with the Ornichetti. If I learned anything from growing up watching cooking shows, it is taste your food, check the seasoning, don't oversalt in the beginning, season in layers. This tastes like the real deal. It's cheese powder, how can you go wrong? 1 pot, creamy, gooey mac and cheese, just perfect. All the ingredients really affordable. You probably already have some noodles and milk and butter in your refrigerator. Just pick up some of this cheese powder, you're good to go. You can add other cheeses to this. You could top it with some Parmesan cheese. You could add some real cheese. This is just a way to get started. Creamy side dish or delicious all on its own.